What if I told you WWE just changed Roman Reigns' identity without ever announcing it on TV? No fireworks. No big promo. Just a quiet shift that could signal the next major chapter of his career. WWE doesn't move casually when it comes to Roman Reigns. Every decision surrounding him is intentional, layered, and strategic. That's why the latest reports coming out of WWE have fans paying close attention. Roman Reigns has reportedly been given a new internal label, and it's already raising eyebrows. The new name, the only one. At first glance, it might sound subtle, but in WWE, words matter, especially when they're attached to the most protected star of the modern era. This isn't just a nickname. It's a message. Roman Reigns has been on and off television over the past several months, yet his shadow still looms over the entire company. Even when he's not wrestling, his presence is felt. His name alone carries weight. That's exactly why giving him a new label right now is so important. According to reports, WWE is leaning into fresh terminology for the former Universal Champion, something the company usually does only when it's preparing for a shift in direction. They don't rebrand stars like Roman Reigns without a reason. This feels like WWE testing the waters before his next major move. Fans who've followed Roman's journey know this pattern well. Whether he's actively dominating the roster, recovering from a storyline injury, or being kept off TV to build anticipation, WWE always keeps the conversation alive. And now, this new name is doing exactly that. The only 1 inch perfectly fits how WWE wants Roman Reigns to be perceived. Not just as a top guy, but as a singular force. Someone above the rest. Someone who doesn't need constant screen time to remain relevant. The timing here is key. WWE is currently setting up major storylines for the year ahead. Subtly adjusting Roman's presentation allows creative to refresh his character without undoing everything that made the Tribal Chief era legendary. It's evolution, not replacement. Sportskeeda recently reported that several voices within WWE, including past legends, have floated alternate monikers for Roman Reigns in recent months. Each name reflects a different interpretation of his role. Some emphasize leadership, others dominance. But the only one stands out because it's absolute. It leaves no room for debate. Roman Reigns has already lived through multiple eras, the Shield, the Big Dog phase, and of course the Tribal Chief. Every transition was carefully branded. This latest name feels like another calculated adjustment designed to keep him sharp, unpredictable, and central to WWE's future. There's also the mystery factor. Roman's sporadic appearances, combined with the fallout from recent storylines, have created uncertainty about what's next. Introducing a new name during this period keeps fans talking even when he's not in the ring. WWE excels at this kind of psychological storytelling. When WWE gives someone like Roman Reigns a new label, it's almost always a clue. Sometimes it's about elevating the character. Sometimes it's about preparing for a massive rivalry. And sometimes, it's about reminding everyone who still sits at the top of the mountain. But Roman Reigns isn't the only star being quietly repositioned. While the spotlight remains fixed on him, another WWE name has been making moves far away from American television. And those moves could be just as important. Omos has been absent from weekly WWE programming for months, but his name hasn't disappeared from the conversation. In fact, it's popping up in places that suggest WWE is playing a much longer game with the Nigerian giant. WWE has Omos locked into a multi-year contract. That alone tells you everything you need to know. Companies don't invest long-term in talent they don't believe in. Instead of forcing Omos into repetitive roles on weekly TV, WWE appears to be reshaping him quietly. The biggest clue came recently in Mexico. Omos made a surprise appearance at AAA's Guerra de Titanes event in Guadalajara, where he physically inserted himself into the main action. He backed El Hijo del Vikingo during a chaotic finish and then aligned himself with El Ojo, instantly placing him at the center of a major AAA storyline. This was not a random cameo. WWE rarely sends talent to outside promotions unless there's a clear purpose. Especially not someone with Omos' size, presence, and long-term potential. The move felt intentional, like WWE wanted him to test a different environment and sharpen his aura in front of a fresh audience. Reports suggest WWE has been considering an extended international run for Omos, similar to his earlier stint with Pro Wrestling Noah in Japan. That experience allowed him to work a different style, face new opponents, and grow in ways WWE's weekly format doesn't always allow. Big men often get boxed into limited roles on American television. Short matches, predictable spots, limited development. Mexico changes that completely. In AAA, Omos' size becomes even more dramatic when contrasted against high-flying, fast-paced lucha libre stars. This strategy also reframes Omos as a global powerhouse rather than just a WWE attraction. Japan. Mexico. Possibly more locations. Each appearance builds his mystique and makes him feel larger than one brand. And that perception matters. Because when WWE eventually brings Omos back into a major storyline, he won't feel like someone who disappeared. He'll feel like someone who's been evolving elsewhere. WWE's approach here doesn't suggest they're cooling him off. It suggests they're shaping him patiently, keeping him active, giving him meaningful roles, letting him grow without overexposure. When you step back and look at both Roman Reigns and Omos, a clear pattern emerges. WWE is thinking long-term. Roman Reigns gets a new name to keep his aura intact during absence. Omos gets international momentum to rebuild his presence outside the WWE bubble. These aren't random decisions. They're pieces of a much bigger plan. And history tells us one thing: when WWE starts making quiet adjustments like this, the payoff usually hits hard. So the real question isn't if Roman Reigns is coming back in a big way, it's how. And when Omos returns to WWE television, will fans see him differently than before? We'll find out soon enough. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more exclusive WWE news, backstage insights, and deep analysis, make sure you hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe with notifications turned on, because you don't want to miss the next big update when WWE finally pulls the trigger on these stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.